Have you ever thought to yourself that Sonic Racing Crossworlds was too boring or even too easy, and that you wanted something to challenge yourself? Maybe you thought of taking a certain vehicle into time trial and getting the S ranks, or even trying to set a top 100 time. Maybe you did the lowest boost combo possible in the game and tried to get all the S ranks in the game. Maybe you tried the Iron Man challenge. Maybe you even did some first attempts with some friends, or even you did something even more crazy. Let me tell you, I've done quite a few challenges, but this is a challenge that is a mistake. I don't think anyone should have attempted this, and honestly, if it wasn't for Suyu getting to Legend 9, I don't think I would have attempted this either, because I didn't have any thought about even attempting this. But yet, here we are. The challenge is taking Gadgetless into Legend rank. Not just any Legend rank. This challenge is to take Gadgetless as a build to the highest Legend rank possible. And this isn't just to take it to maybe Legend 7 or Legend 5 or anything like that. No. The goal of this challenge is to take Gadgetless as a build to Legend 1. A challenge idea that is so psychotic, so crazy, and outright so mentally deranged that I legitimately would expect half of the people watching this to report me for self-harm. That is how psychotic this challenge is. And I'm going to show you the first video in a decently long series of trying to take Gadgetless all the way up to the game's highest rank. Welcome to the preamble video. There's only one stipulation in this challenge. That is, I cannot use a single gadget. If I am caught using any gadgets at all, it doesn't matter if it was an accident, doesn't matter if it was purposeful, anything. I am automatically considered to have failed the challenge and cheated. And that would mean that I have to completely restart from E-0 points. Although the end goal in my head is to get to Legend 1, I will be deciding how far this build can really go, and I will end the challenge early if necessary. Although I would love to take this to Legend 1, this is Gadgetless in the DRE meta, and let's just say, Double Ring Engine is a little unfair. It is very, very powerful, and with a build that has no drift generation, no ring generation, and no speed generation, and no consistent speed, on top of the fact that I have no ways to get items, manipulate items, or even bag items consistently, this is a challenge that is more than hard. I would argue this is a challenge on the levels of impossible difficulties, if not worse. Now, with that out of the way, what is my build? Since I can't run gadgets, I need to min-max my stats to the best of my ability, and boost machines will give me the highest bang for my buck on average, especially when paired with power characters, but I can also use the best speed characters in the game when it comes to their stats. I can use the handling class and the boost class. All these characters are very, very important, specifically power and boost. These two classes of characters are super handy, and they give me the best bang for my buck stat for stat compared to all the other classes. If I think I need more flat speed, I will go with speed characters. If I need more handling, I will go with a handling character potentially, but for the most part, boost and power are going to be the two classes I play the most, especially Whisper. Whisper is a insanely good pick for Gadgetless because she provides 19 flat boost. On top of the fact that my vehicle choice will be Extreme Gears, this provides me with 79 boost. Let me say that again, 79. It is an insane number to hit because the cap for boost is around 88 to 89 because of how boost as a stat is programmed. So, because I'm only 10 off roughly from actually achieving the max boost stat, that means I have the fastest drift charges in the game that I can get without gadgets. Although she has low power and I'm going to be losing a ton of rings, that's where my ring line knowledge and my map knowledge is going to have to come into play to especially help me out to get to 100 rings. Getting to 100 rings is the number one thing I have to do, and maintaining it. Although the low-level lobbies and just in general lobbies in World Match are very chaotic, if I can get to 100 rings, I can get a ton of flat speed, which can compound on my drift boost to give me a ton of speed that allows me to at least maintain with players pretty consistently, but that is easier said than done. Finally, when it comes to maps, the maps that I'm going to be going for are going to be bagging primarily. If it's a track that is bagging favored or a bagging track, I will want those tracks. That is how I'm going to be winning consistently. Without bagging, I don't think I can win consistently. Now, what do I mean by win consistently? I don't mean get first place. I can get first place consistently in lower level lobbies where I'm not in legend rank yet, or with players that are more new or more beginner to the game, but when it comes to actually winning, it's only about getting points. It doesn't matter if I score 1 point, it doesn't matter if I score 30. As long as I'm gaining points and not losing, that is a win for this build. And it's going to be a slow burn, but as long as I can get consistent points, that is all that matters. And those those fat, juicy first places that give me roughly 30 to 40 points, especially in these legend lobbies with tons of high legend players. It's going to make this such an amazing grind when I get those big wins. Now, finally, to wrap this preamble up, any tracks that are front run favored, such as Market Street, Chow Park, and Mystic Jungle, and even Donpa, are all tracks I want to avoid, if at all possible. Donpa and Mystic are a little bit better for me, because Donpa and Mystic allow me to actually take shortcuts, and they both have pretty good shortcuts to take with some of the bagged items. Now, if at all possible, I would like to not get those tracks, and I would especially like to avoid tracks such as East Stadium, Rainbow Garden, things of that nature, where if you have a single shortcut that can completely kill the race if you do not take it, I potentially want to avoid that, because I'm just going to say it honestly, losing to RNG or getting gunned down by players is going to be the biggest pain in the neck in this challenge. And I promise you, it is going to be intense. So, with the preamble out of the way, let's get into some of these races. But you know what? I don't think you want to see me going through a bunch of the E- to A+ rank lobbies. So I'm going to skip through these for the most part. Maybe there's some funny moments, I'll throw them in here. But for the most part, let's fast forward and go to one of the first legend races that I actually played in. And trust me, this is a race that was very fun. Getting into my first actual race, as you can tell from my reaction, I was very appalled here, or at least very stunned, I should say. And the big reason is because this is an actual legend lobby, and after being able to clear most of my low-level lobbies and just keeping on the pace of getting a lot of first places, having about a 95 to 97% win rate of getting first with Gadgetless, it is now time to really put my skills to the test and really put my knowledge to the test. One of the biggest things is the fact that with Gadgetless, even with the fact that I get red gloves and attack items, I'm trying to plan out my item uses very well here. One of the biggest things is that no matter what, I have to be hitting these cuts, and hit this cut I did. The fact that I'm able to hit core cut with consistency, even without gadgets, is something that is very shocking to me. But even with that, I still make mistakes, I still do stupid things, and I still trail behind players that have level 3 bombs for whatever reason, because, let's face it, I'm an idiot, and I shouldn't be doing this, especially if I want to climb up any further than Legend 8. Thankfully, going into the Crossworld, I did get a pretty favorable Crossworld to get a lot of rings and actually maintain with these players. With Steampunk, Steampunk is one of the best tracks, in my opinion, for at least maintaining with players, but it's also a really good track for front running out of control. There's so many spots where I can get rings, though, and this, again, my goal is always to get 100 rings and make sure I bag the items I need in order to succeed. And unlike most builds where you can get away with not using your items to the best of your ability, or maybe you save your items specifically for defensive purposes, I actually have to use my boost items in a speed fashion. I have to use them to give me speed, because the thing is that I cannot generate speed fast enough, unlike some of these other racers that have really solid gadget combos that allow them to generate speed. Now, going into the final lap, I'm going to let it play out so you can hear my thoughts. Someone NATO'd for no reason. Okay, huge. Yeah, I gotta use one of these right away. Go, 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 go! Game, bless me, bless me, bless me, bless me, bless me. Omo. Shit. Game did not want to bless me there. Let's go! First win, baby! Who needs fucking gadgets? Dude, there's no way I just got first. Ain't no way Gadgetless got first. I can't lie, I got a little too excited here for this, because this is World Match after all, and anything can happen. And unfortunately, every race after this was more of a bot and low-level lobby, so I'm going to skip through these, but let's pretend that I did get Legend 9 on this race, and continue from there. And there you go. Legend 9, Gadgetless. Now after hitting Legend 9, the real challenge can finally begin. It is now taking this build, well, this lack of a build, to any Legend rank past this point. And let me tell you, in my opinion at least, I think I can get this build to at the bare minimum Legend 5 before I really hit a brick wall. But only time will tell, genuinely. And just to showcase that it only took me 45 races, you'll see on screen that I am proof checking it right away. And you might notice a discrepancy where I have 49 races. Fun fact, if you play on a brand new account, account or you're new to the game, you have to play 4 races of Grand Prix in order to actually unlock World Match to play online. That is something that I had to go do, and I should have done this with any other vehicle type, but I ended up deciding to run the 4 races on E-Gear because I'm an idiot and I wanted to see Shadow running on foot because I thought it was really funny. Anyways, let's talk about some of these other races I had during the rest of the stream and showcasing off some of the races and some of the main issues I had to deal with. Going into my first Legend 9 race, this is one of the biggest things that I have to keep in mind at all times is the fact that I need to be bagging, and the fact that I have a laser is very important here. Kronos is one of the best tracks to have a laser on the end stretch because it usually can guarantee you a pretty solid position. Now obviously you could get screwed with the laser here, but thankfully I did not get screwed by my laser and it went pretty well. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said going into Chow Park. Unfortunately in Chow Park, I have a good set of items, but I do get desync shoved hardcore by Chris and then lobotomize II with my own green glove and then unfortunately take a pretty unfortunate 9th place. And honestly, doesn't go any better. Going on the Market Street, I have some good items again, and somehow I missed the warp ring here. This is putting me into a dire situation here. Trying to roll out this black hole, was trying to get anything I can here. Dodge the portal so I don't get slimed here, which is really nice, but fortunately I do roll a triple wisp, which actually helps me to catch up. And again, remember, because I don't have any way to generate speed, using these speed items to actually give me all that extra speed that I really need to maintain with these players is very, very important. I try to stall, make sure I don't get hit by this tornado by the stage, and on the finish line I do get hit by this green glove that was targeting stage. Thankfully, I do end off with a nice 3rd place. Now at a Dompa Factory, I do have a bomb and a wisp. I try to take this cup and I mess up pretty badly here. I do have a red glove coming at me, but thankfully, even with trying to dodge this red glove, I do get hit and avoid the slice here, and I do have my wisp still for the shortcut, so that way no one can really catch up to me. So I did get pretty lucky here. Unfortunately, I do see a portal above me. I get slimed here, but even with that slime, I was still able to cross the finish line and still place 4th. And the next couple races were pretty anticlimactic. I got 1st place on Eggman Expo, and then following that on Chow Park, I got 5th place. It was pretty unlucky. Now, going on to Kronos here, I was versing Lazy Zach, and Lazy Zach was using a Spindrift build that he was talking to me about. And honestly, he played this race pretty well. I gotta give him credits here, gotta give him his flowers. It was very well done from him. I was unable to actually take 1st from him, but I did pull a wisp right at the very end to at least secure me a nice 2nd place going into the end of Kronos. And with 2nd place, I do get quite a few points here. Now going on to Chow Park again! I'm trying to take this end section pretty well here, and a bomb just out of downtown nowhere hits me and completely screws me up, and then I get slammed by a monster truck that just ended. Unfortunately, I do take a fat 10th place and gain nothing. Going on to Ocean View, versing Lazy Zach once again here. KBB targets him, and I do have a wisp set up for the end stretch, trying to make sure I can get this all the way to the shortcut on Ocean View. And I'm fighting neck and neck with this Majima. Majima is trying to bully me into submission, taking all my rings away, and making sure this II cannot pass the finish line. But thankfully, he does not have a wisp. I do. I take the shortcut, and I threw my bomb a little early, but thankfully it did not matter, and I do end off with a nice 1st place. And the points were juicy. Although I'm not particularly bagging too much just yet, that's just more of a factor of the fact that I'm able to get away with it in the lower legend lobbies and things of that nature, because I gain way more points than I ever could lose in Legend 9, so I am able to just get away with playing however I want. But again, bagging this monster truck that allowed me to guarantee 5th place here, and guaranteed me that I would win some points here. And going into Coral, not only showcasing that bagging was so important, but now on to Coral itself, showcasing map knowledge and being able to accomplish skill-based shortcuts is very important. This is something a lot of players may not be able to accomplish, and taking advantage of any skill-based shortcuts, or in general, any shortcuts that I can get my hands on through the use of some items is important. Now, I almost failed this Coral cut because I'm an idiot and actually tried to take it way too early. But thankfully, I still have this wisp to dodge whatever I need to. I have this wisp to take off-road, things of that nature. And it's super, super important that I have this. But again, not only being very smart with how I bag my items, and not only being smart with how I use my items, but also just being knowledgeable of each of the maps and making sure that I can take full advantage of my map knowledge and my skill overall as a player to guarantee that I can get some consistent 1st places or at least gaining points. Now, unfortunately, it does not continue. Going into Crystal Mine, I lose points, and then going into Pumpkin Mansion, I do gain a few points, but it just is this constant back and forth. I mean, heck, going into Wonder Museum here, this is a track that I'm front running. I do see a portal. I get slimed, unfortunately, and KBB is out to come run my pockets like he's the IRS coming for some tax funds. And unfortunately, that did not stop me at all. I still am sitting in a pretty solid position here. I do use my tornado offensively to try to hit someone, which was very stupid of me because I could have lost the race if there was a weights that just showed up. And luckily, I did pull a shield from the blue box, and this allowed me to secure another 1st place. But plays like that will not succeed the farther I go. It only works now. And rightfully so, because going into my Minecraft race here, I do have a shield, but I am looking to try to get this blue box to see if I can secure myself something that's really solid here, but unfortunately it gets stolen right under my nose by this black hole wisp. It was incredibly well placed, and honestly, I was only a frame away from actually taking this blue box and really utilizing it, but unfortunately, all I got going into this end stretch is a shield, and even though a shield is a really nice item here, everyone else has got bagged speed items, drills, monster trucks, lasers, and I have a really bad collision on the wall, which unfortunately puts me in 10th place for this race. Now back on the Metal Harbor, someone does try to kill me with this tornado here, and thankfully I was just barely outside of the range. Now if I was Eggman, I probably would have had a big enough stomach to get hit by that, but thankfully I'm Whisper, and she does not eat McDonald's. Now unfortunately I cannot take the shortcut here, and I used my Wisp and Shield just a smidge too late, and unfortunately cannot secure myself another item, but thankfully no one has any items to take me out. No one's got red gloves, slicers, green gloves, anything. And I was lucky enough to be able to secure myself a decently good position here with having a 3rd place and victory. Very nice here. And going on to Market Street, I do play Market Street pretty well here. I'm able to get a good lead, get a good positioning, and have some good items going into the end stretch. I do try to offensive NATO, but someone does time their shield extremely well and avoids my tornado. And I secure myself a back-to-back 3rd place, which is very nice. Back on Minecraft here, I do have a pretty sketchy scenario that I'm in. I almost get completely ran over by this monster truck here. I try to use my speed items to catch up and get a better position, but unfortunately, all I get is 7th place. Now, it wouldn't be a challenge video if it wasn't for the fact there would be some kind of jank that caused me to get very far behind with a bunch of different bounce glitches, random shenanigans, drift getting forced out, things of that nature. And throughout this whole Crystal Mine race, I am just playing from the back, trying to get any sort of way to come back up. I get all the items I want and could ever need to bag, but unfortunately, even with that, I am still so incredibly far behind, and this just goes to show how incredibly important gadgets really are and how incredibly important the gadget system really is to the functionality of the game. Without gadgets, you are super reliant on items, and you really need to min-max every single item here. I do have a really good set of items going into this dump truck section. I do use my laser very well here, but unfortunately I do not get any items going to this end stretch, and I do collect one last item, that being a tornado, and secure myself a nice 6th place. After this, nothing too crazy happens. I get 10th place on North Star, then I get a 5th place on Pumpkin Mansion with nothing too much happening, and then after I move on to Mystic Jungle. Now Mystic Jungle here, I am trying to get any items I can. I narrowly avoid getting the feathers of my butt ripped right off by that tornado here. I do have a whisk going into the end stretch, and I do see that Wegster did use both of his attack items, so I'm in a pretty solid position here to take the shortcut. Wegster does have a tornado. It looks like he was going in position to try to hit me with this tornado. I throw my bomb back just in case he tries to hit me or try to get too close, and I do secure myself a nice 1st place victory here on Mystic Jungle. Very well done in general here. Now going back on the Metal Harbor here, I am again very far behind here, and it's all coming down to the items and item play. This is what happens when you don't bag well. You are grasping at straws here, trying to pull anything you can, and I'm begging for a drill, and luckily I do get a drill. I'm able to take the scripted jump with this drill very quickly. Unfortunately, I didn't pull lasers here, but a monster truck is still pretty solid nonetheless. I cannot take the shortcut here, but with this monster truck here, I'm able to not only crush one player, but then I goom stomp the next player. Unfortunately, RIP to my egg pawn brethren. And then I get a drill right at the very end to finally secure myself a 5th place, and RIP my egg pawn brother. F's in the chat for you, you will be missed. Going back to Blizzard Valley, nothing too crazy happens here. I do have a shield going into the end stretch, but KBB decides to be a damn cheater and no-clip through some of the off-road obstructables, and I do dodge this KBB. Unfortunately, I do hit my Storm brother here in the back. Very unfortunate, but I do secure myself another 1st place by using my items to the best of my ability. Going to Bikini Bottom here, I do have to fear this guy holding the bomb, but I use my King Whisk to go over the off-road, and I do use my other Whisk to try to give me as much speed as possible to try to end this race as fast as I can so I don't get hit here. Thankfully, the Tails did not throw his bomb at me, and I secure another 1st place. Now on Aqua Forest, I'm playing Blaze. I do get a 4th place here. Nothing too crazy happened. And then going on to East Stadium here, I'm in a very weird situation here where I do see KBB coming up, and KBB then slams and KOs 1st place here. Now I do take the off-road with my Wisp. I do have a tornado here. I use my tornado just to try to hit whoever I can here, and I barely end off this East Stadium race with securing myself a nice 2nd place victory here. In general, it was very well done. I used my items pretty decently here, but it could have gone very badly very quickly if I did anything else wrong. And now on to the final race, and honestly this final race was a doozy for the session, and let me tell you, even with everything that went wrong, it was just insane to say the least here. I get an immediate desync shove right off the track, which puts me in a really bad situation. I have 0 rings, I have no items. It is looking being so incredibly dire to the point that I don't even think there's even a chance for me to have any comeback potential here. Not only that, you as the viewer have no idea what the track actually is for the main track, and that is what makes it more suspenseful, because no matter what my items are, if the main track is a front run track, it is almost impossible to catch up. And with getting a monster truck into a slime here, I am just rolling nothing but straight garbage here. It is very impossible to deal with. Now, I do see that I do hit the player in front of me with my slime here, but they somehow have a tornado and they were able to use it even after being slime. Doesn't make any sense. That's just desync having its fun with me. And I go for an item just praying to pull a drill. Now, I do thankfully pull a drill here, and this is the only saving grace here. With this drill, I should be able to make a good comeback here, and I do use it at a weird time here. It doesn't go that far, so it is kind of wasted, but I do have to use my laser here. This laser allows me to put myself in the 6th place here, so I'm in a very, very solid position. And you know what? I'll let the Cello Joker in the past actually take over from here. Come on. Just give me it. Just give me it, please. Oh, there we go. Thank goodness. There we go. Alright, Legend 8 took 80 races. Took way too long to get this. There we go. Whew. We'll take it. And with hitting Legend 8, that's going to wrap up this episode, guys. This is only the first of a long series, and genuinely, I would love to take Gadgetless to Legend 1, but honestly, there's a pretty high chance that Gadgetless can't make it, and it will get hard-walled in some specific Legend rank. I think Legend 5 or 4 is going to be where the hard-walling is really going to occur, but I also think this challenge is completely doable, although it will be very, very, very difficult. I think this is a very fun challenge to push myself as a player and to overall improve. Now, one of the biggest things with Gadgetless I would like to ask is, what type of format would you guys like me to continue with going forward? I know I skipped all of the E- to A+ rank races for the most part, except for about 1 or 2 of them, but the fact of the matter is that I don't think it was worth showing me basically just getting a 99% first place rate against a bunch of like bots and brand new players that are still improving at the game. I don't think that's fair to them. It makes it also look like Gadgetless is a lot easier than it actually is. I don't want people to get the false positive that Gadgetless is actually a very easy thing to do. It is very, very difficult, and the only reason that I've been able to get any first places at all, outside of the fact that of my own knowledge and skill as a player, is honestly the fact that World Match is so chaotic and so many random things happen all at once that really cause me to get either a lucky advantage or the other players get a pretty lucky advantage for them that can really take over and secure themselves a nice win. Anyways, guys, did you like the format? Would you like me to actually try a different format on the next episode? Would you like me to just showcase off maybe 5 to 10 races per episode? Or would you like me to do another video similar to this one where I'm just chopping through all the races up until I get to the next Legend rank, if I do? How would you guys like me to go about it? Please comment down below what kind of style you would prefer. Next time, I'll catch you guys hopefully in Legend 7 in the next episode.
What the fuck?